VidCon, the biggest YouTuber convention in the world, bringing thousands of creators and fans alike together once a year, every year, for 3 days of informative panels, interesting fan and creator interactions, and potentially disasters. While it's nice to think that VidCon is all fun and games, there have been more than a few blunders over the almost 10 years of convention history it's had. After all, between rabid fan bases, reckless creators, controversial political figures, and ongoing internet feuds, there are plenty of opportunities for funny and dangerous situations alike to transpire. Conventions as a whole have been seen as a hub for all sorts of vile degeneracy over the years, covered in news articles, YouTube videos, and on national television. So today, we're going to take a look at some of the biggest VidCon controversies that have happened since the event's conception in 2010. My introduction to Tana Mojo was through the Content Cop by iDubbbz, where he infamously walked up to her at a fan meetup and told her to say. Since then, she's popped up time and time again anytime she manages to get into controversy, which is roughly 365 times a year. What happened with her, VidCon, and subsequently TanaCon is no exception. As she describes in a video on her own channel, Tana, being a pretty prominent creator, was invited to VidCon 2017, but refused the creator badge while she was there, which would give her some benefits as a result. This includes extra security measures for anyone who is a featured creator. As a result, she was forced to travel out in the open and was quickly mobbed by hundreds of her fans anytime she had to go out. She was eventually confronted by security, who told her that she would not be given a featured creator pass or any of the privileges associated with it. Her video about this received 4 million views, and many of her fans expressed their sympathies for her and the unfortunate situation she had to deal with at VidCon. She felt mistreated by the people running the convention and thought that it wouldn't be able to serve her own needs as a creator.
So no, I won't be going. I won't be promoting their event. I have wanted to tell you this story for 2 years now, and I can't even begin to explain to you how good this feels, how glad I am that I waited for this conclusion so that I didn't look like a dumbass this year, promoting their event for the 3rd time in a row just to show up and be shit on. Fuck you, VidCon.
And you know what they say, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. VidCon 2018 was set to go as planned, and simultaneously, TanaCon was going to take place just a short walk away. It was marketed as a 2-day-long free event where her fans would be able to come and enjoy themselves away from VidCon, seemingly all out of spite for the convention. Unfortunately for Tana, none of this went as planned, and the event turned into an absolute nightmare by the end of the first day, getting it completely canceled as a result. To list just a few issues, the venue they booked was intended for 5,000 people, while Tana claimed that around 20,000 showed up. These numbers were later contested as aerial pictures shown side by side with 20,000 people reveal that it doesn't appear to be anywhere close to that amount. Regardless of the actual number, swarms of fans were left outside in the California heat, turning into Totino's pizza rolls on the pavement. At some point, a stampede even started, leaving one young fan hospitalized with minor injuries. A number of the creators invited to the event couldn't show up because Tana's team never checked for scheduling conflicts with VidCon. And just to add on top of all of that, as if the issue of actually getting into the convention and the various canceled appearances wasn't enough, it was apparently just very boring and there wasn't much to do. In an interview with Forbes magazine from the time, Tana described her own experience setting up the convention, during which it becomes obvious why many of these issues happen. Tana says here that the convention was planned in 40 days, maybe 30. She says that at the time she came up with the idea, she had nothing lined up or rented. It was all completely spontaneous. She just said that one day she wanted to have her own convention and thought about how crazy it would be, and did it. I'm a pretty last-minute person, but this was extreme. And then, all of these traditional influencers started posting their own bad experiences at VidCon. All of these people were making video responses to my video. I had chills. I was like, if these creators are so supportive and this company wants to help me, then why not take a stab at it? Well, stab at it she did. Unfortunately, I think she left whoever she stabbed with a massive gaping wound. Shane Dawson later did a documentary series on his channel about TanaCon, where he talked to Tana and gave a rundown of the entire situation. While some people praised him for still being critical of Tana for the convention, despite their prior friendship, others felt like he went far too easy on her, and someone more impartial would have been better to fill his role. Regardless of what you think of the documentaries themselves, their view counts are a clear testament to people's interest in the subject as a whole, and just how widespread the news of this convention disaster was. Much like Tana, Logan and his brother Jake are seen as two of the naughtiest little rascals on YouTube. For years, it seems they were always getting into some trouble, whether it's from being general public nuisances to filming corpses in the woods and fucking each other's girlfriends. As VidCon 2017 rolled around, Logan developed a plan to cause a little more of a ruckus than usual when he told his audience that he had hidden $3,000 on the grounds of the convention, posting updates about it on social media and encouraging his fans to search for it. That same VidCon, he also managed to get his fans to form a massive mob around him inside of a fountain, leading security to wade through the crowd of children to tell him to leave. He then ran inside the convention center with hundreds of his own fans chasing him, all the while filming it for his channel. Logan later said in a video that while he enjoyed what happened, he was sorry if anyone got hurt in the process.
I just want to say, if you are here at VidCon and in any way were affected by that negatively, I want to apologize wholeheartedly. I don't know, I didn't expect it to get that crazy. I knew it would be a crowd. This level of fandom is completely different than anything I've ever experienced. If you were hurt or someone hit you, or I saw someone tweeted me that they got like food knocked out of their hand, guys, legitimately, I am so sorry.
In an interview with Polygon, VidCon's CEO said the following in response to unofficial fan meetups and what happened with Logan specifically. We are definitely encouraging people not to host unofficial meetups. We're also going to be on the lookout for folks who may not think they'll attract big crowds, but if something does happen, we can easily get to the point where it's like, what gets you a safe space? If we can, we'll set up these more structured meetups. 150 or 200 people running around because so-and-so is over in the corner talking to fans has the potential to cause big problems. We work really hard to make sure that doesn't happen. While we're here, it's worth mentioning that while Jake Paul is officially banned from VidCon, he decided to sneak into the convention in 2019 to see his wife or something. I don't really know. It's Tana. This resulted in Jake evading security and then sneaking on stage with her to give a speech or something. I don't really know. It's not that interesting. These monkeys didn't really dance hard enough. Next asshole, please. Prior to VidCon 2017, most people hadn't heard anything about Christian Burns, an Instagram model who managed to become one of the most hated people that week by the end of the convention. Outside of the convention center, there was a crowd of people trying to get inside, and some security guards were trying to get people to move away from the doors. Burns became extremely angry at this, calling the security guard an ugly piece of shit and saying that he should kill himself.
Whoa. You're ugly as fucking irrelevant. Kill yourself. What? Get the fuck out of my face. You are a peasant. Dude, you're blue collar as fuck. Like, get the fuck out of my face. You make no money. Look, what are you wearing? You're disgusting. Kill yourself.
He also notably called them blue collar as fuck and addressed people trying to get him to stop as peasants. This video quickly went viral, being reposted across YouTube and Twitter, with people calling Christian a terrible human being and expressing their sympathies for the security guards involved. Another video surfaced as well, and it was heavily circulated at the time, where Christian insulted another guard in the same exact manner. They later posted a video to YouTube where they talked about the verbal abuse they endured and reacted to the video, saying that they hoped that despite the controversy, people didn't go after Christian too much for what he did. Christian later did an interview on Drama Alert, where he said that someone else was tackled and choked by security, leading him to confront security and tell them that they shouldn't be treating people like dogs, shedding some more light on the situation as a whole and his motivations behind being so aggressive and awful.
What the actual fuck were you thinking saying this shit to the security guard?
This guy was being tackled. There was a bunch of security guards involved, whatever, choked. And like people, and like, I don't care what that person did. That doesn't justify you choking a human being. Like, he was being treated like a dog, like literally. That's why I said it in the video. And I mean, like, it didn't get shown my side. And like, yeah, I said some fucked up shit. I was heated. I was blacked out. Like, yeah, I was mad. And the shit I said is not like an excuse, and it's fucked up. And I've learned from it.
Right, but
in response to what Christian did, the community also came together to share the security guard's Instagram in a push to make his follower count surpass Christian's. Shortly after this, Burns deleted his own Instagram account. In 2016 and 2017, anti-SJW channels were at their absolute peak, with feminist cringe compilations being one of the most popular genres on YouTube, and the skeptic community being at its absolute peak of relevance. Naturally, the feminists that they criticized didn't really appreciate them or their videos, with one of the most hated being Anita Sarkeesian. Anita had been heavily criticized for portraying video games as encouraging sexual violence, and rather infamously misrepresenting a Hitman game to seem sexist in order to fit her political political agenda.
where she claims that in one of the game's levels you were encouraged to kill 2 female dancers, then toss them around as if they were simply objects. The problem is that the game actually docks you points for killing them, and rather you're supposed to sneak around without being seen.
But, despite much of the community hating her, she still had lots of mainstream support and was well connected within the video game industry. As a result, she managed to get a panel at VidCon with some other prominent creators, one of which was Boogie2988, who at the time was seen as one of the nicest people on YouTube and someone who could do no wrong. Well, with the entire skeptic community attending, and Anita being a prominent speaker on the panel, something bad was bound to happen. The likelihood of this was only increased greatly by Sargon and the rest of the skeptics deciding to specifically attend the panel and sit in the front row. As the panel began, Anita quickly addressed Sargon.
If you Google my name on YouTube, you get shitheads like this dude who are making these dumbass videos that just say the same shit over and over again. It's like, I hate to give you attention because you're a garbage human. Whatever, dude. But it's, you know, like the fact that these dudes are making endless videos that just go after every feminist over and over and over again, I think is a part of the issue of why we have to have these conversations. We don't just get to be online.
Articles from sites like Polygon at the time portrayed what Anita did as extremely brave and a commendable moment for her. To directly quote an article, when confronted with the consequences of appalling behavior, those organizations that host abusive activities, including VidCon, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, offer little more than pleasantries. They are ignoring their own urgent duty to show some courage, to fully confront these awful displays of bullying. If individuals like Anita Sarkeesian can stand up to such aggression, why can't these huge and powerful organizations? On the flip side of the coin, people portrayed Sargon as a massive victim and someone who had been targeted by Sarkeesian, saying her assertions about him were ridiculous. Sargon even talked about this on the Joe Rogan podcast, donning his Kekistan shirt to talk about what Anita said about him. Boogie also made a video about what happened, saying that he was extremely nervous during the entire thing and only became more nervous because of an interaction he had with Anita where she heavily disagreed with him after the panel, but they did later have a respectful conversation about this in private.
Once Anita had realized how nervous I was, she actually took a step back and quickly composed herself, and I asked her for an opportunity to explain myself and explain my point of view, which she was more than glad to do. She invited me back to the green room where we sat and talked for about 15 minutes. She explained her side of things, I explained my side of things, and while I don't think she agreed with me at the end, she was very willing to listen.
This led audiences to criticize Anita, saying that she was an awful human being who had been mean to Boogie. Despite this, if you watch the video, Boogie himself said that Anita, while initially confrontational, had a pretty reasonable conversation with him, and they managed to hash things out in private in a respectful way. This attempt to quell the controversy, however, only made people even more upset, saying that he shouldn't have cowered to her and that she is a garbage human being for what she did to him. And while there's a lot to criticize Anita for, I honestly don't see what she did to Boogie here. If you want to talk about Sargon, I mean, sure, there's a confrontation there. Some drama happened. Some points were made. There's something to respond to. But with Boogie, the interaction seems to have been pretty trivial, and people were only really mad at her about it because it was dragged into the greater controversy of Anita versus Sargon at VidCon. So ultimately, while the two sides of this argument seem to be pulling in completely opposite and extreme interpretations of the truth, the actual truth seems to lie somewhere in the middle. Sargon showed up to Anita's panel with a bunch of people who had criticized her and made fun of her online, and Anita responded back with some pretty vitriolic words about what should have been expected to happen. However, she then went on to say that a number of people who were at the panel should be blacklisted from future VidCons. Boogie was then somehow involved because he talked to Anita when he really didn't have any meaningful play in this entire thing. It was a shit show. Plain Rock Vlogs is a second channel run by Plain Rock 124, a guy who dedicates his time to smashing stuff when he's bored. 50 ways to break a PS5. Bored, smashing an actual Tesla. 50 ways to break money. This dude's a fucking psycho. I mean, he breaks money. In my opinion, he should be in jail with prison mate Luke forever. Plain Rock attended VidCon 2019, filming his experiences each day and having some pretty innocent and entertaining interactions with other creators and fans. However, on the third day of the convention, he ended up getting into some hot water with another creator, Zombie Unicorn, who at the time was promoting the infamous Bully Hunters campaign. Plain Rock approached the stage after a panel and asked Zombie Unicorn, who had just been on stage, to say, "This is what it's all about," a clear callback to Bully Hunters.
Aww. Now this is what it's all about.
I hope that you feel better, okay?
Alright, thank you very much.
Yeah. Because, you know, it's not really nice to just harass me.
Alright.
not.
Okay.
While it seems innocent enough, she accused him of harassing her before telling security and getting him removed from the panel. Word quickly got around the convention about what had happened, and Plain Rock posted a video to his channel where he showed the awkward interaction with her, quickly getting the community at large talking about it. People criticized Zombie for her response, saying that she was too sensitive and shouldn't have removed Plain Rock from the panel.
Someone going, can you say that's what it's all about? You should stop. I hope you feel better. He should feel bad immediately for saying that. He's disgusting. He's horrible. This is the most non-threatening Asian man God has ever created. Go to Plain Rock's YouTube page. Nothing here seems threatening about this man.
For such a simple interaction, it's surprising that it ended up getting as much attention as it did, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who didn't find her response a little extreme. Matthew Santoro is a creator who runs a channel with more than 6 million subscribers. While he's pretty popular today, in 2016 his channel was really blowing up and a lot of people were talking about him.
You know, if I was a cartoon character, I bet I'd look something like this. Oh yeah, they'd call me Crazy Face Baldo!
Naturally, when it was realized that Matthew's content was not entirely his own, and his channel was using lists from other websites to make his videos without crediting them, some people became upset. On May 1st of 2016, Grade A Under A posted the video, The YouTubers Complaining About Drama, Matthew Santoro Exposed, where he showed one of Santoro's videos side by side with a list first article. He clearly outlined that the 10 people Matthew talked about in his video were the same 10 from the article. Not only that, but they appeared in the same exact order, and Matthew used much of the same exact wording.
Literally the exact same guys. Every single one. And not only that, right? But in the exact same order too. Do you know what the odds of that happening are? Literally 1 in 3.6 million. That's comparable to lottery odds. Again, what a fucking coincidence. And again, it gets even worse.
At the time, Grade was seen as one of the premier voices for YouTube drama, with everyone taking his opinion pretty seriously, and as such, Matthew was plunged into controversy because of the video where Grade exposed him. Grade's video was released on May 1st of 2016, less than 2 months before VidCon was set to happen that year. So, with everyone talking about the drama and Matthew planning to attend the convention, I don't think anyone was surprised that a confrontation ended up happening. Another small YouTuber by the name of Minnesotaboyy confronted Santoro about the plagiarism scandal, seemingly expecting some kind of film-worthy reaction from him. However, instead of getting much of anything on camera, Matthew was pretty calm and collected and gave what seemed to be a pretty well thought out response.
Oh yeah, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes, right? So the thing is, you have to learn from those mistakes and just don't do them again. And you know what? Everybody goes through their career and makes mistakes. And one day you're gonna make a mistake, but you know what? It's all right.
Hey man,
as long as you learn from it.
Hey man, I'm looking for the best, man. Hopefully you learn from this, man.
Yeah, same with you, brother.
All right, man.
All right, take care.
So basically, we just got done exposing Matthew Santoro. Grade A Under A, if you watching this shit, keep doing what you're doing, dog.
As a result, most of the replies were pretty supportive of him, and the controversy as a whole quickly faded into obscurity, as Grade and his associates moved on to criticizing other people. The previously mentioned Minnesotaboyy is known for his confrontations with other YouTubers, and infamously his feud with reaction channel Blasphemous HD, who you may know as someone who was heavily criticized during the reaction video criticism wave of 2015. All of this mounted in a confrontation between Minnesotaboyy and Blasphemous, where the two shoved each other and leveled some pretty petty roasts at one another in the middle of the convention.
This guy said he was gonna kill me and my mom.
I was literally looking for this guy right here.
Yo,
this guy Blasphemous HD.
You remember that?
This guy right here, I was looking for this guy. Hold this camera.
This is the guy!
I was looking for this motherfucker.
This is the guy!
Really? This is the guy that stole content on YouTube, and he's not funny as shit.
Yo, that's crazy! Yeah, I remember that shit! Yo,
push me out my
hey, don't push my way, yo!
Push my shit.
Watch out, hey, soda. Hey, soda.
Beat your ass, boy.
Chill out.
I'll beat your ass, boy.
Moving on. We all know and love Onision for his long list of shenanigans and, worse, but we're not gonna get into that today. Before all of the really damning allegations against him, Greg was known by the general public as the guy who likes to say really outrageous shit for attention online. Adrienne Jorgensen is a girl who Greg dated briefly in 2011, who ended up writing a long email to another YouTuber about Greg, which was later leaked to the public after Onision made a number of videos about her where he criticized her and said some pretty mean things, including that she shouldn't have been complaining about being pressured into sex because she had already slept with more than 20 people. Supposedly, because of his comments about her and his extremely controversial relationship with a young girl named Shiloh, a number of parents decided to contact VidCon staff and ask that he be barred from the convention. Pretty soon after, Greg's name was removed from the attending guest list. This made Greg very upset, leading him to make a few status updates on his Facebook page, where he said the following: "VidCon removed me from their guest speakers list. I'm happy to not attend if they feel I am not worth the stage time. If I remain off the list, I encourage everyone who got tickets specifically to see me to file a complaint and demand a refund for false advertisements, as it is apparent I will not be in fact speaking like they originally promised. I'm not going to attend VidCon. I will not put up with their blatant dishonesty. If you want someone to blame for my absence, you can blame the haters who spammed VidCon with anti-Onision mail and VidCon itself for giving into pressure and going back on their word." He also uploaded a video to his channel talking about the situation, saying that he was banned because his opinions are too hot for VidCon.
So what this comes down to is that they don't want me to voice my opinion. I mean, why else could I still attend the event and not talk into a microphone? Because they don't want me to say anything that's on my mind. These parents are afraid I'm gonna say something to their kids, if they even are parents. Maybe they're just haters pretending to be parents.
With a response as awesome as this, you can imagine VidCon decided to put him back on the list and quickly apologize to him. No, instead they just did nothing and he didn't go. It is worth noting, however, that Onision received an email from VidCon organizer Hank Green, explaining his thoughts on the situation and filling in Greg on what happened. According to Hank, he was not informed that Onision was being removed from the speakers list prior to it happening, and instead an employee did it without asking permission. He also says that Greg was actually listed as a guest and not a speaker, as they have very limited stage time and he was never actually intended to be on stage. He goes on to say that it may be a bad idea for Greg to attend at all because the controversy could make it very unsafe for him, and while he will keep an eye on the situation as it begins to calm down, he thinks it will probably be best for him to just not go at all. Surprisingly, this isn't the end of Onision's history with VidCon as a whole. For this next part of the video, I'm just going to quote Life of Onion, a pretty good reference for a lot of Onision related stuff. I'll also link the specific page in the description if you want to check it out. When VidCon 2015 began approaching, Greg, in usual fashion since his ban, began tweeting about how he would not be attending VidCon, and he would not want to attend anyway. Unlike previous years, he eventually began making comments on social media statuses trying to convince his followers that VidCon was not a safe space for young female fans, saying web celebrities could be sexual predators. He even went as far as to take a photo of Shane and a fan from VidCon, blocking out Shane's face and captioning it, "VidCon Pedophile Heaven." During this time, Greg had been following the story about the Viner Carter Reynolds, whom allegedly sexually assaulted his girlfriend in a leaked video. Greg tweeted about the story several times and even tweeted at Carter, scolding him for his actions. After word began to spread that Carter attended the first day of VidCon 2015, that night, Greg began tweeting at Hank Green, notifying him of Carter's unwanted presence at the event. This started a Twitter dialogue between Greg, Hank, and Carter, which ended with Hank concluding Carter was not welcome at VidCon. Ironically enough, after trying to convince fans VidCon was too unsafe to attend, Greg was viewed as a hero of VidCon 2015. Many internet media sites following the story credited Greg with helping Hank Green get Carter banned from VidCon. And just to verify this, I decided to make sure that this was the case. And sure enough, both Superfame.com and NewMediaRockstars.com both credit Greg with getting Carter kicked from the convention. A little ironic maybe, considering the events that have transpired since then, but I don't know. Good for you, Greg. EBZ is a streamer most well known for his appearances on the streams of and association with Ice Poseidon. The two met when Ice Poseidon ordered an Uber in Los Angeles, and Ebenezer, being an Uber driver, picked up Ice to drive him to his destination. From here, EBZ and Ice quickly struck up a conversation, and EBZ began to promote his amateur rap career. Ice quickly became a fan, giving EBZ an audience and taking him along for a number of his streams, even making an appearance on the No Jumper podcast. However, much of what made EBZ infamous in the community was his confrontations with various people like Sam Pepper, and ultimately his knack for controversy ended up getting him removed from VidCon 2019. During VidCon, EBZ was confronted by a police officer after they had received complaints that he was allegedly filming up women's skirts. During the confrontation, he accused the officer of racially profiling him and flat out denies the allegation. To quote EBZ directly from the video, "It's a music channel. It's not about filming under fucking skirts. You see a black guy, you think he's trying to look up skirts." After the argument cools down, the camera cuts to EBZ's face, where he appears extremely angry while being informed by someone off camera that his badge for the event is being revoked. Based on your activity last night and some of the zooming, the close-up shots you've been getting, and monetizing your videos, that's a violation of our code of conduct, so we are going to ask you to leave the event, and you are not welcome back for the duration. It seems that whether the allegation of filming up skirts is true or not, he has a long history of getting into fights with people, and it's no surprise that he was removed from the event. Matthew Espinosa was a Viner who was very popular in 2014 and 2015 for his posts on the site as well as his YouTube channel. In 2015, he began tweeting that his uncle would be attending VidCon, saying in a tweet, "Yo, why'd my uncle just texted me and said, 'You hitting up VidCon? I'll see you there tomorrow.'" A lot of people in the replies seemed to either be expressing disbelief that his uncle was coming and asked who he was, or they replied to him saying things like, "I love you," and "fuck me." Well, all would be revealed when Matthew showed up to VidCon 2015 with a full camera crew and several bodyguards, as well as his aforementioned uncle. Matthew was dressed as Papa Squat, a character with a large afro, a gray mustache, a blue blazer, and noticeably darker skin than Matthew. Without beating around the bush here, he's doing blackface, and while I personally find it kind of funny, it's no surprise that a lot of people were very upset about it. Matthew responded by saying, "Chill, what the fuck? Blackface? My uncle is from Ohio. He's not blackface, lol." He was also simultaneously running another Twitter exclusively for the character to mess with people, where he said that his nephew couldn't attend, but he would be there. Clearly, Matthew's approach here was not to respond seriously in any way, and instead he just wanted to mess with people criticizing him. Some people said that the stunt was to hide from his fans so that he wouldn't be mobbed by him, while others said that he was being extremely insensitive and racist. His friend, Taylor Caniff, responded to the controversy by claiming that Matthew does actually have an uncle who appears and acts like his character, Papa Squat.
Matthew was getting hate because he showed up and people were saying blackface, but he literally has an uncle who lives in Ohio who acts like a gangster and is hilarious, just like his dad. And he wasn't trying to hide from his fans. Like, I don't know, you search Matthew and you see all these articles about how he's like trying to hide from his fans and stuff. But he totally just went there trying to be funny, and then everyone takes everything so out of proportion. It was like...
Now that we've taken a look at some of the most disastrous events to ever happen at VidCon, I think it'd be a good time for us to sit back and see what we've learned along the way. What did we learn here from all of the shenanigans that these YouTubers have gotten into? From being chased endlessly by fans and starting scavenger hunts, which then create a stampede, to starting drama based off of sitting next to someone. There are definitely a few important conclusions to draw from the entire thing. Some lessons, if you will. Well, if you ask me, there actually is no fucking lesson, and there's nothing more I have to say. I hope when COVID ends, more dumb shit happens so I can make another video about it. Thanks for watching, I've been Turkey Tom, and until next time, this video was brought to you by Raycon. I've actually got my Raycons in my head right now, at the present moment. Raycon sent them to me a few months ago, and I've had them ever since. I'm pleased to say that they work really well, and it's been a pleasure working with the company. The actual audio quality is just as good as all of the other premium brands that are on the market, and they start at half the price of other premium earbuds. I spend a lot of time listening to heavy music, and all of my favorite albums come through great on my Raycons. I'd highly recommend them for anyone looking for an affordable pair of wireless earbuds that won't break the bank. Their newest model, the E25, is their best yet, with 6 hours of continuous playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, and a more compact design that gives you a nice, noise-isolating fit. It also comes in fun new colors. Colors that are fun. Click the link in the description to get 15% off your order. A huge thanks to Raycon for sponsoring me today and making my videos possible. Alright, I can say it now. Leave me alone.